Hey, welcome to what we like to call the nuts and bolts of radical mentoring. So, hey, thanks for taking a few minutes to check this out. And I know many of you are at many different stages as far as radical mentoring. I'm sure some of you have set up accounts and some of you have not. But really, what do I want to accomplish today? So, let me just give you a little snapshot of what I would like to accomplish today. So, really, I want to introduce you to radical mentoring a little bit, give you an opportunity to get to know us. Also tell you kind of, hey, what makes radical mentoring unique, and then maybe really give you a big picture mentoring process. So what we're not going to do, not really going to get in the weeds a whole lot today, but I just want to kind of from a high level give you an idea of why we're seeing this be successful in churches and having the impact on men that it is. So, hey, let me first of all introduce myself. My name is Trey Brush, and really consider me your guide throughout this process. So, one of the things you'll notice when you create an account, or if you already have created an account, is that there was no charge for creating an account, which is kind of crazy. But what we are funded by churches and by men who've been so impacted by the radical mentoring process, they've chosen to pay it forward to make sure that there's no financial hurdle for other churches to jump through in that first season. So it really truly leaves me as your guide, and how I introduce myself to churches as I introduce myself as your guide. And the question I always ask getting started is really, how can I help? And so that's what I'm here today to do, is to really introduce you to who we are and give you an idea of where to begin to jump in to radical mentoring. So let me give you a little bit of background, understand our DNA just a little bit. One of the things I love to be able to introduce people to is when they get to know us and our background. One of the best places that I know to start is Mentor Like Jesus. And so usually if someone has a chance to create an account, or many times they'll read Mentor Like Jesus and be prompted to create an account, because Mentor Like Jesus really dives into our philosophy and how we do what we do. And so a little bit of background, then you will see that the author of Mentor Like Jesus is Reggie Campbell. And Reggie Campbell was our founder. And he founded this back in 2001. And just a little bit of background, because I know many of you may be very similar to Reggie, that you may be looking for purpose, you may be looking for intentionality, which is why you landed here in the first place. So a little bit of background on Reggie and kind of how we were founded. So Reggie was one of the founding members back in the day at Johnson Ferry Baptist Church. And he was teaching a Sunday school class of young adults. And these guys would see a successful business guy, a leader in the church, and a guy that they wanted to spend some time with. And so, as you can imagine, Reggie would find himself all over towns at Waffle Houses and Chick-fil-A's and Starbucks. And there was a couple of things throughout this process, and some things that he would feel that, man, these are things that I feel like I have to solve. And so I would say one of them is he always felt like he was dealing with the issue of the day. And so never really felt like he was taking guys on an intentional process, but more dealing with, hey, this is what's going on at work, or this is what's going on with my wife, or this is what's going on with my girlfriend, and really not taking the guys on an intentional journey. And the second thing that he would also begin to feel is, just as he would sit in a Starbucks and just really begin to pour his heart out, he would just look at all the empty chairs and thought, man, there has got to be a better way. And so it was actually a Tim Elmore quote that really reshaped how he would do mentoring. And it's, more time with fewer people equals greater kingdom impact. So Tim Elmore, more time with fewer people equals greater kingdom impact. And so really what he would end up doing is going home, looking around his dining room table. He saw 8 chairs and just thought, hey, this is where I'm going to start. And so he began to invite 8 guys into a yearly journey. And so as you pick up a copy, hopefully, of Mentor Like Jesus, it will kind of walk you through what each one of those is. But one of the things that I love to be able to talk with mentors and talk with churches about as they begin to dig in, and I love to be able to talk about, hey, what makes radical mentoring unique? And we know that there's some really interesting aspects and some things that we would say, hey, how do we know that this successful? How do we diagnose how this has worked so well over the years? And so wanted to invite you in just a few minutes for me to talk to you about what we feel like makes radical mentoring unique. So I would say first and foremost, our firm belief that it is relationship above content. So what this is not, it is not a curriculum, it is not a teaching model. We truly believe in everything that you use each and every month, it is based on relationship above content. So as we talk about the radical mentoring process, know that it's not a curriculum, but it truly is a life on life plan. And so we know that in the meetings that you will have with radical mentoring, 80% of what happens in those meetings is based on relationship building. So we just want to walk alongside you as the mentor and equip you. So we hand you the 20% structure you need month in and month out to be able to build relationships with those guys. So relationship above content is key. I would say the other thing is a high standard. And that kind of goes along with 2 and 3 for me, kind of go along together, a high standard and invite to apply. So one of the things we encourage you to do as you begin the radical mentoring process, potential mentees will begin to feel the weight of this. And I'll just kind of walk you through a sample scenario as when guys become interested in radical mentoring. Our best recommendation as you're looking at potential mentees for radical mentoring is to do a shoulder tap invite. So it's not something you'll ever do a mass email, but you're inviting guys to hear more about the process. After you invite them to hear more about the process, you're going to invite them to apply and be a part of the group. And so from there, they're going to fill out an online application. And then from there, you will handpick your mentees. And then after that, when you get ready to launch, they're going to sign a covenant. So I can assure you, by the time you've shoulder tapped them, invited them to hear more, they've gone online to fill out an application. You have handpicked them. They've signed a covenant. Their wives have signed a covenant. The guys will feel that. They'll feel like, hey, there's something a little different about this. So that is going to be something that is very unique about radical mentoring, is they will know early on that this is something different. And hey, it may not be for every guy in the church, and that's okay. That's why you have other things. But for the guys who want to go a little farther, a little faster, it is going to provide a unique opportunity. Another thing that is going to be very unique to radical mentoring is the group mentoring aspect of this. So I'm sure most of you have been involved in some type of mentoring in the past, and pretty much every mentoring that it gets spoken of is all one-on-one mentoring. So this is all about authentic community and group mentoring. So not only do the mentees spend time with the mentor, but also they're going to have a chance to spend time with each other. And one of the neat things that happens in these groups is, yes, there's mentoring from the mentor and the mentees, but eventually during that season, as these guys bond, get closer together, share their stories, bring their things to the table, there begins to be a lot of mentoring that goes on within the group from mentee to mentee. So it provides a really unique opportunity for the guys to be exposed to men and exposed to an environment that they haven't been exposed to before. So, hey, one of the most common things we get, and maybe this is you, or maybe this is guys in your church, but typically when the question is asked, hey, who would like to be mentored? Most every guy that we know raises their hands. We all would love to be mentored. We all love to have someone we can sit across the table from and talk with. But usually the question goes up, hey, who is willing to mentor? Very, very few hands go up. One of the things we think happens from a mentor perspective is that it's easy to not understand exactly what you're getting yourself into. And so usually the place I love to be able to go with mentors to put them at ease is to help them understand what mentoring is and then what mentoring is not. So when we talk about the radical mentoring process, we love to be able to clarify what you are not as a mentor. So Number one, you're not their business coach. Number two, you're not a therapist or a counselor. And then number three is you're not their dad. So you don't have to, you're not going to be there to solve their problems. You don't have to give coaching advice. Those are things that you just don't have to do. And so I will say, when I have an opportunity to sit down with a group of men who are going to be potential mentors, it's usually a big sigh of relief, like, well, thank goodness, because that's always what has kept me from mentoring. So if that's not what mentoring is not, let me talk to you about what mentoring is. And so at the end of the day, we feel like it's just a couple of things. So mentoring is truly taking your cup and pouring into somebody else's cup. It is being transparent and vulnerable with a group of men. At the end of the day, one of the things I love to be able to say is that the great picture of a mentor in my mind is a guy coming to the table. He's read this book. The book has exposed him a little bit. And he's like, man, I want to tell you what's going on in my marriage. I want to tell you what's going on right now. And you as the mentor sit there, you take it in, gives you the opportunity to be like, man, Bob, that is great. I appreciate you sharing. Something similar happened in my life. And I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you what I did. Here's what happened, and here's what I learned. So go choose wisely. So being able to just share your experience, do life with a group of men, be vulnerable, and pour everything you have into them, that ultimately is all mentoring is. And so we really want to be able to kind of break it down. That way guys can be like, oh, well, that's something I can do. And so our goal throughout this whole process is to help you understand what mentoring is, hand you the structure of what that process is, and help you be successful. So one of the things we talked about a few minutes ago is just want to get in, we don't want to get into the weeds today, but I'm going to talk about from a high level what the mentoring process is. And so one of the things that I wanted to hit is on a monthly basis, what are the things we're doing on the monthly basis with the mentees. And so just know, as you log on to the website, create an account, you're going to find there's a couple of different plans on the website. And I'll give you a little bit of a web overview in just a minute. But you're going to have, there'll be a 9-month plan, and then there's a 12-month plan. And in each one of these meetings, there's always 5 key elements to these meetings. So you're meeting once a month for 3 hours, and then there's 5 elements to each one of those meetings. And so element number 1 is that the guys are reading a book a month, and then they're providing a net out of the book. So the net out is essentially, hey, here's what I heard, and here's what I'm going to do about it. And so they're reading a book a month. Number 2 is they're memorizing 2 scriptures each month via keyword. That is our way of pointing to the scripture. Number 1, we're picking books that kind of lead them to the scripture. So they're very Bible-based books which point them to the scripture. And then number 2, they're going to be memorizing 2 scriptures via keyword each and every month. So as they hit the month on priorities, or talk about decision making, or you begin talking about fear, then they're going to be able to hopefully pull these verses via keyword out each and every month that they need those. So you're going to read the book, you're going to do the scriptures. Number 3 is they're going to do some growth assignments each month. There's usually a couple of assignments, homework assignments each and every month. I would say usually each month, one of those is going to be very relationship focused, probably something about their spouse or in regards to their spouse. And then the other one most times is spiritual growth or personal growth related. So they're doing the homework. They're also, obviously, community is a huge aspect of that. And that is, exposing these guys to an authentic community in our minds is one of the most critical components of this. And so you're going to do it a couple of ways. Obviously, you have the 3-hour meeting each and every month that the guys are being exposed in. But you as the mentor will also, let's just say you have 6 guys in your group. and you're meeting for 12 months. Then what you're going to do is pair up guy one with guy six on month number one. And then each month you're going to rotate the guys. And so you're going to give them a chance on their own to connect with each other. It's a lot of creative ways to do that. Our mentors have shared some great stories with some great ways that they've been able to connect their mentees together. But it gives them the opportunity outside the group to begin building relationships with each other. And then obviously, lastly, is going to be prayer. Prayer is a huge part of this. And so one of the things we always let you know as a mentor and as a church, that one of the things we know is that if ever one of these is rated low, is because the mentor didn't put good emphasis on it and it wasn't important to him. And so we feel like each one of these five elements is critical to making this successful. We want the guys to be challenged and read the book. We want them to be able, at the end of 12 months, to be able to have some scriptures they can pull on and think, hey, in this heat of the moment where I'm faced with a tough decision, man, I have something I can rely on. We want to have been challenged throughout the process with some assignments that has challenged them in their marriage or made them grow spiritually. We want them to have maybe those 3 a.m. guys that all of a sudden in their life where, hey, 6 months ago, I didn't have guys in my life I could call at any time of the day that would be there, but now I do. And then we want them to see their prayer life modeled by the mentor, practice with each other. And so these are the five key elements that they're going to hit each and every month. So really quick, what I want to do is give you a quick web overview. So like I mentioned early on, some of you probably came and already created an account. And others of you, this will be a good next step for you, will be to create an account. But just so you'll know, when you go to the website, we organize the website on purpose. And so it is organized in a manner that is going to walk you through everything that you need in each step. So you're going to see words on the website like prepare and equip, connect and launch. And all of that is done in order of how you will use it. So I always say, if you ever get stuck to, there's easy ways to schedule time with me. It can give you a quick overview of the website on there as well. So don't feel like you're ever stuck, but just really quick, the best way I can tell you to go through this is for each one of those, there's tabs on each one of those. So as you begin talking about preparing, I would say that's probably where most of you are at, is kind of on that prepare stage, which is, hey, what does my team look like? How do we want to launch this? Do we want to launch one group? Who are the mentors going to be? So it really is trying to understand how you're going to use it in the context of your church, and how does it complement what you guys are already doing for men. The next section is equipping, and that's all about equipping the mentors. So once you've decided what your team looks like, once you've decided who your mentors are going to be, we do everything we can do on our end to equip the mentors. And so there's two different trainings listed on there. There's a training 1 and a training 2. The first training is all about showing you how to facilitate a meeting. The second one is all about helping you be able to share your story. And then also from an equipping standpoint, we continue that throughout. And so one of the things you'll notice, and I'm not going to dive into the weeds on this, I'm happy to go through it, but we have a mentor community website where we have additional training. And this is where our mentors go for us to continue to add value to them. So after we've equipped you with training, then it's all about connecting with mentees. And so everything you need from a recruiting standpoint, we're going to help provide you. So we provide you some email templates. We provide you with a vision casting agenda. So if you wanted to bring a group of potential mentees together and walk them through the process, tell them, many times in that first season especially, it helps to have a vision casting. So maybe you have a target of 10 to 20 guys you want to bring in a room. You can invite the mentors in there. You can invite the senior pastor in. And we have an agenda on there for you to use to be able to say, hey, here's why we're doing this. You can put the covenant in front of them. Hey, here's what you're committing to. This is an overview of what this is going to look like. And then from there, we actually on the website also have an application system. So the applications are there for your guys to be able to fill out, capture all the information. It is extremely helpful for your mentors, has all the detailed contact information for the mentees, also has a place for them to share their testimony. It has a place on there for them to share why they would like to be mentored. So all of that is on the website. And obviously we also have the tracks on the website, which 9 times out of 10, when you come to the website, that's probably going to be where you want to go. So I try and keep it very simple for what does it look like to launch. And we walk through this process with you. So it's not that you're on your own. Congratulations, you want to launch, but we walk through this process. And so many of you could be in different places. And so I'm just going to kind of list out 4 basic steps to launch. So number 1, I would recommend, if you haven't already, to create an account. After you've created an account, my best next suggestion is to schedule a consult. And so that's where you just spend time with me. What I've done today is kind of giving you high level kind of what this looks like, but my recommendation is to spend some time. Would love to get to know the church a little bit, get to know you a little bit, kind of what caused you to express interest in mentoring, and just to see how this can fit. And then what I love to be able to do, what I didn't get a chance to do today, is one of the things that we tell you, hey, everything's on the website, which is good news and bad news. So I love to be able to kind of walk through the website in detail a little bit, not comb through the website, but I love to be able to park in some areas that we say, hey, as we look at the radical mentoring process, we know that there's a secret sauce. We know that there are things that are more important than others. One thing that can get lost on the website from time to time is that it's all there. And so it all looks the same. But I love to be able to talk with you and say, hey, during your season, the story retreat is going to be critical to your success. And so kind of dive into that a little bit. So I will talk about some of the important parts of the mentoring process, why they're important. So we'd love to spend some time with you. Number 3 is just to set a launch date. And so, one of the things we typically tell you is kind of 9 to 12 weeks is kind of gives you a good launching time frame. You'll notice on the website, this kind of built with a January or September launch. We see a lot of churches launch in that January or September time frame. However, that being said, I have churches that launch year round. So you never have to feel trapped about when to launch. And then lastly would just be follow the checklist. So I will provide you a checklist after we get your launch date. If you want to schedule some touch points during that time of launching, I'm more than happy to do that with you. So try and keep it really simple. So I would ask you again, what is your next step? So if you haven't had a chance to create an account, I would encourage you to create an account and then schedule a time with me. So I hope this was really helpful. Glad you were able to join us and kind of look at taking a next step. Again, I would love to have a chance to connect with you. So I will make sure and follow up with you once you have a chance to create an account. And again, love to spend a few minutes with you, kind of do a video call, kind of go through the website and talk about how this might fit with your church. So, hey, thanks again for taking a step, and I look forward to working with you on the next step. Take care.